Ireland is an amazing country for paranormal activity, and I think that's predicated on the fact that there are like really old buildings that, you know, dating back thousands of years, sites that are dating back thousands of years. All sorts of battles were fought across the country thousands of years ago. So that has to have some relevance to the way people are experiencing these paranormal activities. Sometimes I'm asked, what is the fascination with having a profession as a ghost hunter? Well, there are many answers I could give anybody to that. One is the excitement, the adrenaline rush as I go in with the team into a building and, you know, we don't know what we're going to find. I could discover something completely new that hasn't been discovered before scientifically. And, you know, there's that anticipation. Then there's the fear, the excitement, the dopamine in the brain. You know, the whole thing is just really exciting. People seem to think that paranormal investigating is very easy and it's you just meet up and everybody goes out, but there are a lot of particular roles within a team. You need a case manager. Our case manager is Tina Barco. She is constantly ringing places and answering people's calls and answering private messages from people that are having experiences, etc. We have a tech manager on the team as well. His name is Shay Carey, and he will take care of all the equipment, make sure it's serviced, make sure it's ready to go at a moment's notice. Everybody on the team, whether they be a case manager or a historian or a tech manager, they're also investigators. That's very important. And they're trained up to be able to go into a house and try and figure out what's going on and run baselines and do everything that any investigator would do. I am constantly receiving calls and emails from people who want to join Irish Ghost Hunters. I know this guy, Tom, a few years, and he has been pestering me non-stop to join the team. We were a little bit unsure about him. We feel there is something about him that, you know, may work on the team, and we're thinking of bringing him to maybe one investigation to see how he pans out as a possible trainee ghost hunter. Ah, Tom, how are you?
How are you?
Welcome. Good to see you, man.
Yeah,
Welcome
so
to Irish
excited.
Ghost Hunters. Come on in.
I've always had an interest in ghosts. Who doesn't? I mean, since the early days, and every opportunity I got, I'm stuck into it. I pestered the life out of Tim. First opportunity came, I jumped on it.
So, Tom, we have an investigation for you.
Okay.
I know you've been asking for a long time.
Yeah.
How does Loftus Hall sound to you?
This is the one in Wexford.
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Ireland's most haunted house.
Tim recently received a call from the owner of Loftus Hall in Ireland's southeast. Loftus Hall was originally built in the year 1350. The current house was extensively renovated between 1870 and 1879. It is one of Ireland's most historic houses, but efforts by the current owners to restore the house to its former glory have been hampered by strange occurrences, which locals believe are linked to the story of the Tottenham family, who were resident in the house in 1766.
Recently, we got a call from Aidan Quigley, who is the owner of Loftus Hall, which is the be-all and end-all of haunted houses in this country and possibly Europe. There have been teams trying to get in there for years on end. We got a call recently to say that he's having ongoing problems from a paranormal point of view within the house. There's things happening in the chapel, in the tapestry room, the world-famous tapestry room, in the games room, but especially upstairs. There's a lot of strange activity beginning to happen recently upstairs in the old part of the house. Noises and footsteps and things being moved when nobody is there. He will not allow the public to go up to that part of the house because of so many strange events and the effect that it may have on an individual. Loftus Hall is an ongoing project. It needs a lot of work, it needs a lot of funding, and the owner feels that the project has been slightly slowed down or stopped to a certain extent due to what is happening upstairs. So he has called us in to try and get to the bottom of it, try and figure out, you know, what it is that's causing all these strange events upstairs, so he can continue to develop the house and bring it back to an older state of restoration. Possibly tomorrow. How would tomorrow evening?
Tim calls the remaining team members and arranges to leave for Loftus Hall. As the ghost hunters make the 2-hour trek from Dublin to Hookhead in Wexford, conversation turns to what they might expect to find at Loftus Hall.
You reckon there's a chance of actually seeing a ghost?
Well, you know, a lot of the time nothing happens, Tom, but there are some strange buildings where you actually get stuff happening, and Loftus Hall, by all accounts, is a very active building. So it'll be... Hey, look at it there, look.
Oh my... Sweet.
It's huge, isn't it?
That's colossal.
The gate must be up here.
You sure that's not a hotel?
Looks like it actually was a hotel at one point in the 80s. It was run as a hotel apparently at one point.
By who? Jack Nicholson?
It certainly does have that look about it.
It's huge. That's what she said, what? Tim, that is giant. Are we going to have to investigate that whole thing?
Well, you know, we'll try and get as much of it done as possible. Buildings always seem a lot bigger than they actually are. You know, when you've got a whole night investigating, there's so many different rooms you can go to and stuff.
And particular rooms, like bedrooms and stuff?
Well,
bathrooms?
Bathrooms, bedrooms, dungeons. It is the typical haunted house.
It's exactly what I thought a haunted house should look like.
The haunted mansion.
Haunted mansion.
Loftus Hall.
Just ghost billionaires wandering around the place.
Well, it's my first time in this building as well, so I haven't been here before either.
Awesome.
So it should be really good. And
Those trees look scary.
The only thing is
Are they real? They just put them there just to look
they probably
scary.
just put them there, yeah.
Oh man.
It's so isolated as well, right out in the middle of nowhere.
This is absolutely terrifying already.
Certainly.
I can't wait to get into this.
The team have arrived at Loftus Hall and begin preparations for the overnight investigation. The team have arrived at Ireland's most haunted house, Loftus Hall. And as Shay, Tina and Tom gather the equipment, Tim goes in search of the owner of the house.
Hello, Aidan. How are you? Great to see you.
Very good, Tim. Welcome to Loftus Hall.
Thanks very much for bringing us here.
Would you mind if I showed you around?
Love to.
Loftus Hall was originally built in 1350. It has been a family home, a convent and a hotel. But in its long and varied history, a common theme emerges, a malign presence in the house. Current owner Aidan Quidley, although aware of the hall's tortured past, was unprepared for what he found when he took ownership of Loftus Hall.
I was aware of its past because I grew up here locally, and from a very young age I was aware of the hall. When it was a convent, when the nuns were here, it was a very private place and nobody knew much about it. But then when it was opened as a hotel, people got in around the house, but there was still a lot of unexplainable fear. Even my parents and my grandparents' generation, it was never really a place to go. It was a place to be wary of. That still exists today, and for good reason. We can't explain things that have been said to us here, things that members of the staff have experienced in this house, things that I myself, up to a couple of years ago, I wouldn't have believed were possible. But on seeing and feeling these things firsthand, you know that Loftus Hall is still very much alive.
It is believed all the strange occurrences at Loftus Hall stem from one single event, a visit from a dark stranger, the devil himself.
It's a very twisted and tortured history that this house has, stepping right back to when the famous night that the Dark Stranger arrived here. A lot of people wonder who this Dark Stranger actually was and why is he referenced so much in the history. But he actually was believed to have been a dark being. Some even say he was the devil himself. And he arrived here during a very bad storm, sat with the family to play a game of cards. And during that game of cards, the young lady of the house, Lady Anne, she actually dropped her card on the floor, and as she bent down to pick it up, she looked, and to her horror, she saw that this man hadn't got the real feet of a normal person. He actually had the cloven hoofs of a goat. She shrieked. She would never have encountered anything like this before. And when he was discovered, he burst into a ball of flames and exited out through the ceiling of that very room. And to this day, that ceiling cannot be repaired.
The Tottenham family were resident in the house at the time of the Dark Stranger's visit. It was their daughter Anne who suffered most in the aftermath.
Anne's tragic story, we should say, it came to a very, very bad end for her. After this episode had happened with the Dark Stranger and the card game, and it is well believed that it had been more elongated affair, that there was an actual affair took place between Anne and the stranger. And springing from that came a young child. Now, the family would not have been able to handle the disgrace of their young daughter becoming pregnant out of wedlock. It is believed that Anne was locked away in the tapestry room, that she suffered there unspeakably because of the torture of being left on her own, the mental torture and the physical torture of actually being in childbirth with no one to help her. And disturbingly, it was recounted in the late 1870s when the house was being restored, that a young labourer, while removing part of the wall of the tapestry room around the fireplace, hidden in the wall were the skeletal remains of an infant child. Now, we haven't got any written documentation that Anne Tottenham ever had a child, but a simple act of putting the two stories together, and we can get maybe just a glimpse of how horrific her life was. Anne literally never left that room. She died in that room. Her body was removed in an odd-shaped coffin. It was actually built up around her body because she died in the seated position with her hands clasped around her knees. It is believed that she was frozen either in fear or in the torture of her situation.
It is believed that the ghost of Lady Anne Tottenham haunts the halls and that the touch of the devil still lingers. As the ghost hunters enter the house, they set up a base of operation in one of the house's entrance halls and can already feel that all is not well in Loftus Hall.
The feel of Loftus Hall is very oppressive. We have been in many buildings around the country, and I have to say, being here, it's very strange. There's a very, very strong vibe about it. Now, you do get used to the different senses of an old building and smells and creaks and things like that, but there is a feeling in the building as well.
Tech manager Shay begins to set up the ghost hunter's equipment, including a thermal imager, a K2 meter for measuring electromagnetic field fluctuations, and a voice recorder to capture voice phenomena. While Shay prepares the gear, owner Aidan tells of his own experience of the house and why he asked the ghost hunters to come to Loftus Hall.
We purchased Loftus Hall in August 2011, and it was a beautiful sunny day when we came down here to view this fabulous house in this picturesque part of the countryside. But as the winter closed in, we discovered this house had two sides to it. As the evenings got darker, colder, as the storms got worse, this place became very ominous. I suppose our dreams of turning it into a beautiful sunny resort, as some people thought we were going to do, or that lovely tranquil getaway, probably changed over those winter months. And talking to local people and talking to people who would have known the history better than us, we decided that this house is ready to tell its story in its current form. And that's what we want people to see before it's restored, to see Loftus Hall on her weakest day, telling the truths and her stories.
As the sun sets at Loftus Hall, the staff leave for the day and the team prepare to begin their investigation in the now empty house. As darkness sets in, the ghost hunters enter Loftus Hall through the house's original doorway, the door used by the dark stranger on the fateful night he visited the hall. As night falls at Loftus Hall, the ghost hunters prepare the equipment they'll need to detect any paranormal phenomena. Tim decides to begin the investigation by entering the house using the same doorway the Dark Stranger used centuries before. They will then measure the base electromagnetic field of the house. Any movement or fluctuations in the field are not normal and can indicate paranormal activity.
Now guys, apparently the legend is, the story is, that this door frame here was in the front of the building, and it was the original door frame that the man walked through who was supposed to be the devil. This would be a good place to start a base reading, I think. What do you reckon? Yeah?
I'm in for finding any devil readings anyway. Yeah.
Okay, let's see what we've got here. Yeah, it's slightly, you know, it's up around 0.3, 0.4, it's slightly above base reading, so a building should be reasonably flat, maybe up to 0.1 or 0.2, but when it starts to go over 0.5, you know, something is a bit odd, you know.
All right.
It could be wiring as well, so it's hard to know. Well, we're kind of fluctuating up to about 0.5 here, guys, on the EMF. Interesting.
Oh, wow.
It really is the haunted house, isn't it? Like that we were talking about earlier, Tom.
This is everything you want to know.
Would you stay here alone at night time if we were to leave you sometime?
Yeah. Would you leave the kettle?
You'd need more than the kettle.
While the team continues to measure the EMF baseline, Tim detects an EMF spike on the servants' staircase up to the first floor.
Watch yourself on that cable there, Tom. Wow, just another 0.5 spike there.
Yeah?
It's actually just dropped around to minus 0.8 directly after it, you know?
Really?
Yeah.
Tim?
Yeah, now it's gone up and down again, yeah.
It's doing it right here.
Oh, right, that's, you know
It's
what
part
that...
of the decor, is it?
Which, that?
Yeah, this.
That is apparently to mark the spot where two people died. A nun at one point died here, and then 40 years in the difference, I don't know which first, a man died in the same area, exactly in the same area.
It's like kind of like a morbid Hollywood Walk of Fame, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's a bit creepy, okay.
The unusual EMF readings make the team hesitant to proceed upstairs until they have a better grasp of what might be happening in Loftus Hall. But the EMF spike on the first floor landing and the cross etched into the floor has sparked the team's interest.
One of the reasons people don't go upstairs, it's a completely different area of the house. There's actually two different areas because there's two different floors when you go upstairs. Now, the first floor would have been laid out more comfortably for the main residents of the house. The very staircase that leads up to it here. The servants were never allowed to walk on this staircase. There were actually two serving staircases here. Now, one of them doesn't exist anymore, but the other one has a very, very checkered past. There's actually an etching of a cross on the floor as you go up the staircase, and that marks a spot of great tragedy. There has been two recorded deaths on that very spot. Very hard to explain. One was a young convent nun, and the other was a young man. Now, both occasions were about 40 years apart from each other. But no one seems to be able to explain what happened to these people, why did they meet their end there. But even as you walk up through there, you can feel it. It's a part of the house that's something is not right. The cross that's actually etched into the floor, we believe actually that the nuns had that put there. On a couple of different occasions, the nuns would have had people come in to investigate certain things in the house, and on this particular occasion it was decided to bless this area, put a cross in, and basically try and give it as much protection from whatever was occupying the space as possible. We know very little about the first order that arrived here. They arrived in 1917 and they were the Benedictine order, and it was a closed convent then. Literally, once they came in, they closed the gates. That was it. The public didn't have any interaction with them, nor they with those. But in 1935, another order took it over, the Dominican order, and it became more of an open house then, because it was a school for girls, but also Mass was said in this very house, in the chapel, just past the staircase. Mass was said here every Sunday for the locals. Now, a lot of the locals actually decided to go much further up the road to get Mass because they wouldn't come into the house for Mass. And those who did come here for Mass have reported that it had a very different feeling than normal churches. Over the years then, the nuns left one by one until there was just merely a handful left here. A lot of them took the option to go abroad to missions or to go anywhere else but Loftus Hall, because there was a lot of tragedy here. There was the drowning of the nuns in the bay. There was a few more unexplained deaths, and I think at the end of it all, it just became a little too much.
While Tim and Tom are measuring the EMF spike on the servants' staircase leading to the first floor, Tina enters the old chapel and almost immediately finds an unexplained temperature hotspot on one of the pews. She calls Tim to confirm the find. As he arrives, the K2 meter, which measures spikes in electromagnetic energy, begins to go off.
It's actually here. I don't want to touch it just in case, but just if you stand over there, see, so it's just here.
On the thermal imager, it was heated up.
Yeah.
Now, there, do you hear the K2 going off?
Yeah.
We need to document the fact that we're not alone in this room. Can you make us aware of your presence by doing something? Show us something in here. Move something, touch somebody. In some ways, I don't know whether it's because it was a church, but I'm finding this place very creepy.
That's why I came in initially.
This is one of the statues where the heads are missing, and it seems to have happened all over the building.
And all the pictures are
Stations
defaced.
of the cross, and they're all defaced. It's weird. It's terrible.
When Tina and Tim begin discussing the defaced religious icons, they hear strange noises, and the K2 meter detects a strong EMF presence.
Yeah. This was originally a chapel, and some of the locals used to come here to Mass. It was run by the nuns, and this was the local chapel in the area. And as you can see, there's a lot of different things around, religious artifacts, etc., around the place. I just don't know why that thing keeps going off. See, again. Are you in this chapel with us? Are you in this room? Are you one of the nuns who used to live in this building? If so, show us a sign by making the K2 meter, the box on the chair, light up. We're just researchers here to document the fact that we're not alone in this building tonight.
There you go.
While Tina and Tim continue to investigate the presence in the chapel, Shay and Tom have discovered something disturbing next door, in the infamous tapestry room, and call the others.
When I seen this first,
Yeah.
you see the back of the chair there, the red part,
Yeah.
where it's red on the back of the chair, but on the base of the chair,
Yeah.
it was red as if someone was sitting on it.
Yeah.
Batteries just have to drain it. Someone's had to drain that was full. Someone said something about a child or something in here earlier.
But this is the room.
This is the room.
This is Lady Anne's room.
Because that image I seen, it looked like the shape of a person. Was about that height.
Yeah, but this is where they buried her baby, in the wall.
But the first initial shot I got of the chair, it actually looked, it was a lot hotter than that, and it was as if looked as someone was sitting on it.
Somebody was sitting on
Yeah,
it.
it's all red where the face would be.
Yeah, you could actually see the red on the base and on the back of the chair.
Where the point of contact is somebody sitting on
Yeah.
it.
Cool.
Odd.
Now you can actually, that's actually getting redder again.
Yeah, it's getting redder again.
Yeah, it is actually, yeah. Oh, look at that. Look.
Definitely heating up.
Does anybody in this room with us, can you maybe move closer to the chair? Sit in the chair?
I think we actually did get it on camera, but for the chair to be that warm, someone would have to be sitting on the chair for at least 5 minutes. Like there was serious heat coming off the chair, and there was no one in here, and no one was sitting on the chair. No one sat on the chair today at all. And when I pulled the thermometer away, I think I was saying it to Tim, and when I went back, it was gone completely. There was nothing on the chair at all, and I got this figure about, I'd say, 3-4 foot-ish, well, 3 foot, I'd say, standing just at the edge of the wardrobe. On the thermal again, it was sort of transparent. There was no heat in it. You could just this figure in sort of a greeny pale, which is the colour of the thermal imager. And I turned back again, and when I went back to the chair again, the heat signature just moved to the back of the chair again. So the chair actually heated up again, and you can't explain that. Like there's no really way to explain how that chair can just heat up like that, and cool down.
Anne literally never left that room. She died in that room. Her body was removed in an odd-shaped coffin. It was actually built up around her body because she died in the seated position with her hands clasped around her knees. It is believed that she was frozen either in fear or in the torture of her situation, but she was buried in the local graveyard, in a crypt in the local graveyard, only a few miles from here. And actually, not too long ago, the crypt was open and Anne Tottenham's coffin was there to be seen.
The unexplained heat signatures are a significant and unsettling find. The team gather themselves and prepare to move the investigation upstairs. The ghost hunters have found evidence of paranormal activity throughout Loftus Hall, most significantly in the tapestry room. The team now move into the games room, where the Dark Stranger and the Tottenham family are said to have played a game of cards, and the stranger was revealed to be the devil himself.
This is the one, Tom.
This is the card playing room, right?
Yeah. This
Yeah.
is where the.
Is this what I think it is?
Yep. That is it. That's the hole in the roof
The
that
big
they
man-
cannot repair. You know
What
the
he did is
story?
like his Superman acting, just straight on up.
More or less.
Awesome.
The team gather around the table for an EVP, a recording of electronic voice phenomenon.
EVP, Loftus Hall in the card room with myself, Tim, Tom and Tina present. Can you make a noise anywhere in the room? Can you tap on the table? Can you tell us who you are?
What are you feeling now, Tom?
Feels cold in here.
Freezing.
Like properly cold in here.
It's freezing. Icy cold.
With the audio recording saved for analysis later, Tim decides it's time to tackle the upper floors of Loftus Hall. He believes the noise and disruption of the production crew may be hampering the investigation, so he elects to send a single investigator upstairs.
What we know so far is we arrived here, we got the base EMF downstairs. It seemed to be just all right, maybe a little bit high. As we moved upstairs in the building, it got stronger. And we were getting the fluctuations going up and down.
Yeah, right around the half.
And there's a feeling upstairs as well. Now maybe it's because it's darker up there or whatever, but I think that should be our next area we go to. And possibly we should send you up alone as an experiment. Sometimes as you tone things down, like for instance, you don't have too many people, we send you up alone, we'll be listening to you and watching you and see what happens if you're up for it.
Yeah. I'll give it. Yeah.
Okay, we'll do it.
Right.
The team return to the control room to prepare Tom for his investigation of the upper floors.
There can't be any other piece of land more soaked in blood than Hook Head itself, because this was the source, this was the point where all invasions took place into Ireland. This was a very strategic point in Europe back in the years. So there was a lot of bloodshed here. The people here suffered all through the ages. But there also, it seemed to be an area for pagan rituals. There seemed to be a lot of delving into the black arts, into the occult and all of that. A lot of that energy has been here throughout the ages. I've been areas of this house where I have never felt as alone or as vulnerable in my lifetime.
Yeah, guys, you copy? Yeah, I'm just heading up onto the second floor here.
Okay, no problem.
Cool. Just checking.
Okay, we're watching you. What are you seeing at the moment?
Oh, I'm just coming up. I just passed that horrific incident room there on the half landing, and I'm just coming up.
How are you feeling back there?
I'm okay. I'm all right. I won't say excited, but it's feeling like we're getting stuff done here. Oh God, what was that?
Okay, so we're just here if you need us. We're standing by and we're watching and listening. So if you have any problems, let us know.
Okay. This is about as dark as I've ever been in. Okay, all right. Did I just come in? Did I come in that door? Okay, I don't know if that's the door I came... What's... Hold on. I don't know. Okay. All right, so... Okay. All right, up we go. All right. Oh, great, the wallpaper's coming off of my hands. This is absolutely ridiculous. Oh my God, this is the darkest I've ever been in. This is one of the last half landings. The camera's even fogging up. Oh my God. Yeah, this is definitely entering creepy land. Oh no. Alright, this is... Okay, the camera just went blank there for a second. I need this camera, I have no other light. Okay. Door number 1. Door number 2. Oh my good God. Alright. Okay, I'm gonna try it. It's locked. Okay. Alright, to hell with that. Probably. Oh my good. Sweet Jesus. Alright. Oh my God. Alright, okay. This is straight out of The Shining. Okay. Slowly does it. Okay. Alright. What's that? What was that? Guys, did any of you come up the stairs, guys?
Go ahead, Tom. Is everything okay?
Yeah, I just heard some footsteps coming up behind me on the stairs. Did one of you come up?
Do you want me to come up?
No, I mean, yeah, no. Did one of you come up the stairs just now?
Nobody came up. Nobody came up. We're down here.
You're sure?
Absolutely certain.
This is the bit where I'm actually feeling really something isn't feeling right up here. Okay, this is way off. This is not. I've never felt anything like this.
Are you okay at the moment? You look a little bit shifty.
Yeah, it's just feeling a little bit on the odd side up here. Yeah, the vibe just isn't good up here, Tim. I'm right at the top of the house.
Okay, have you heard something apart from those footsteps?
No, it's just a vibe up here.
Okay.
Chair.
Do you want to sit down for a few minutes or just maybe observe what's going on?
No, I'm not going to sit down. No. There's an inlay on this shower. Okay. Oh. Man, this is weird. I have never ever felt anything like this. Maybe I shouldn't have agreed to come up here. No, I definitely shouldn't have come up here. This doesn't feel right. Something feels really wrong right now. I'm gonna start making my way back down.
Okay, good.
I'm heading down now. Heading down as I speak.
Tom?
Yeah.
What are you doing, man? You said You alright?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, I'm good.
You're okay?
Yeah,
Just watch your step.
I think it's okay.
Okay. Watch your step,
Yeah.
please.
All right.
Alright. Okay. A couple of days after the investigation, after we recovered, because everybody was extremely exhausted after that building, we spent hours and hours going over the evidence on computers and listening to the voice recorders. You know, apart from the evidence that we gathered in Loftus Hall, it's a really strange place. It has a real strange vibe about it. It's oppressive in a lot of ways. When I walked in there, I felt like the whole place was closing in on me. A lot of the members of the team have had many nightmares since, which they don't get after investigations. So I think there's many levels of Loftus Hall. People seem to focus on physical evidence, the bigger, the better, an apparition, something moving across the room, a chair falling over. It's not always as clean cut as that. It's more subtle at times. Your EMF spikes, or maybe even an EVP, which is quite significant. But we add all these things together. But I found in recent years, the most bizarre effect is the one it has on people's minds. If something is oppressive or there is something there that we believe, the way it affects people, the way they react, You see a change physically in them. You see a change in the behavior. And that is one of the reasons we brought Tom upstairs, because we have a lot of hardened investigators, but Tom was a little more, open, a little more vulnerable, if you like, to these things. And certainly, it seemed to have a really strange effect on him.
I don't know. I don't know what any of these things mean. EMFs, spikes, and all the rest of it. I don't care. I don't care. I know one thing. Something followed me up that stairs. Something like I've never felt in my life. It was dark, oppressive, angry.